Happy Friday and welcome back to Drinking by My Shelf. My name is Emma and today I'm not drinking a glass of wine, but I am drinking a smoothie out of a wine glass. It's still before 10 a.m, so I thought a little too early for wine. And yes, I'm drinking out of a vegan bamboo straw, so don't come at me for the environment. I got this. Okay, lol. This smoothie won't come through the straw because I don't think I blended it enough. I fucked up my smoothie. I never make smoothies. I made it too thick and it won't come through my special straw, so I'm gonna go put the straw in the sink and then just drink this like a normal person, which will be messy. Okay, let's give it a go. Oh, it's good! It's just so thick, it's basically a pudding. I should really be eating it with a spoon, not trying to drink out of a wine glass, but this is drinking by my shelf, not eating by my shelf, so we're doing it. Okay, so today it's time for my monthly Balancing the Books game. If you've never seen this before, basically I just add up all of the books that came onto my TBR that month versus all the books that went off my TBR that month, either because I read them or unhauled them or whatever, and try and make them equal. And then for the last few months I've been making it extra hard and try and make it -5 because I want to really reduce my TBR. Also, quick disclaimer, if you are watching this back to back with last month, you will notice an error because last month I added it up wrong. I thought that I started with 40 and then ended up with 35. Actually, I started with 45. So I'm now doing the 40 down to 35 thing again. Deja vu, bitch. Okay, so I'm going to start by showing you all the books that I hauled this month. Let's start the counters. I started this month with 40 books, and that is for real this time, and I'm aiming to get to 35 by the end of this video. In the month of August, I hauled 5 books, which is the opposite direction. I'm supposed to get rid of 5 books, not add them, but that's what I did. I'm going to show you what they were. I got Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. She appeared on Book Break, so I'll link to that episode. Do go and watch it. She's such an amazing person. She's such a good speaker. I just loved every second. I could have watched her for hours. And she's so funny. I never really read fantasy, especially not YA fantasy. But after having heard her speak, I'm so in love with her that I'm just desperate to read this book. So I haven't read it yet, but I've heard amazing things from everyone who's read it. People are just like freaking out. And it's also just so amazing. The representation in this book and the fact this book is done so well is just like proving to the world, like, yes, we do want more books by diverse authors. We do want to read different types of characters from different places around the world with different backstories. And that's just my perspective as a white person. It must be even more incredible for people who've never seen themselves represented to finally see themselves represented. Such exciting things. So I got this book. And while I'm talking fantasy, apparently this was a very uncharacteristically fantasy month for me. I also got this one. This is another one from Pam Macmillan. So is Children of Blood and Bone. This is The Invisible Library. So this is a adult fantasy series, which I thought maybe I might get on better with than the young adult fantasy that I never really like. And it's about books, and I love books about books. It's basically about this woman who works for a secret library society. So there's like the concept that there's alternate universes, there's loads of different parallel worlds that are all really different from each other, and the library kind of exists as like a connection between all these worlds, and they go to the different worlds and take books. So in the library they have fiction from all these different possible universes, and it kind of acts like this balancing force between the worlds. I thought that was a really cool idea, and also the 5th book in this series is about to come out this year. I'm going to be doing an episode of Book Break on that one too, so I thought I wanted to catch up. And I've been really wanting to get into a series. I never really read series. I can't think of one that I've read since Harry Potter, but there is something so special and exciting about being into a series and getting like really excited for the next book to come out and being invested in the characters. But most series are fantasy, and that's why I haven't really read any. But I'm excited for this one. Hopefully I'll get really into it, and then I'll be like so excited when it's time for the 5th one to come out. I got The Queen of Bloody Everything by Joanna Nadine. This is another Pam Macmillan one, and I read this one because it was shortlisted in the must-reads category for the Big Book Awards, the Hearst Big Book Awards, and I went, another bit ring plug, I went to Cosmo, to the offices there, to talk to 2 of the women who work there, and that was really fun. That video will also be linked below, and Cosmo were judging the must-reads category, so I wanted to see what this book was all about, and I have already read it, so that's one off my TBR again, and I really liked it. It's about a mother and a daughter, and how different they are, and the different lives that they're both aiming for. And there's a lot of sadness in it, but it's not a depressing book. I thought it was really touching, and parts of it were really uplifting. It has a happy ending. Both of the characters, the mother Edie and the daughter Dido, were both such great characters, like well-written characters. It's from the perspective of Dido, so she was the one that I most empathised with, but Edie was also this really beautifully written character who I also was frustrated with a lot, but empathised with a lot. I just thought it was a really great book. Okay, another book that I bought is The Accidental Further Adventures of the 100-Year-Old Man. So this is the sequel to The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out the Window and Disappeared, which was one of my favourite books when I read it a few years ago. It is so funny. And I had no idea that a sequel was coming. I just saw the poster up in the tube and got so excited I ordered it straight away. Jonas Jonasson has written 2 other books. I've only read one of the others, and I liked it a lot, but nowhere near as much as 100-Year-Old Man. And then the third book I bought but I haven't read yet because I keep hearing people just say that they didn't like it that much, which is such a shame. But I'm hoping this will be a return to form. Fingers crossed, I'm so excited for this one. And then the fifth and final book that I hauled this month is The Dreamers by Karen Thompson Walker. So she wrote The Age of Miracles, which I read quite a while ago now and absolutely loved. It's got like this kind of science fiction premise, but it's not a science fiction book at all. It's just about this girl and her life, and it's about like family and relationships, but it's set in a world where the Earth's rotation has started to slow down, and it's affecting like the length of the days and nights, it's affecting gravity, and it's this kind of like dystopia because like eventually the world is going to end and everything that we rely on in our world is going to change. But instead of being like about exploring that scary premise, it's about exploring the people and like the effects on the people. Similar to Kazuo Ishiguro's Never Let Me Go, that's another book that has this kind of science fiction premise, but it's actually just about people and about humans and about like living your life when you know you're running out of time. This was kind of similar. Anyway, neither of those are the books that I'm talking about. The Dreamers is about, I think, a world where people are starting to fall asleep. I can't remember exactly what the premise is. Either they can't sleep or they're getting too much sleep. It's something about sleep. But I imagine will be the same kind of beautifully written, just talking about people and relationships and dynamics between families and all of that kind of stuff that I love. So I'm really excited to read that one. So that brings me up to 44 books, but now I'm going to go into the ones that I read. I already told you about Queen of Bloody Everything, but I read quite a few others this month. First up, two that do not help me at all. I read The Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Niffenegger and also You by Caroline Kepnes, but both of these were rereads, so they do not help me at all, but they were really fun to reread. This was one of my favourite books when I was growing up, and I was kind of nervous to see if I would still like it as much now, and I did. Like, the time travel didn't hold up as much as I thought it did as a child. Like, I thought it made 100% total sense, and it doesn't, but I didn't care I loved it. I still thought it was a 5 out of 5 book. And then You, I read this one a few years ago and it was just as creepy as I remembered, even more creepy than I remembered. I've forgotten how uncomfortable this made me while I was reading it, but like in a good way. I really like that kind of thing. And I'm so excited for the TV show that's got Penn Badgley in it playing the stalker. I'm hoping it's going to be really good. But yeah, they didn't help me, so I'm still on 44. Okay, I also read Tin Man by Sarah Winman. That one I'd heard so much about, and I think it kind of suffered from having been so hyped up, because then I just didn't fall in love with it as much as everyone else did. But having said that, I really liked it. I thought it was such a wonderful book. It's about these two men, Ellis and Michael, are those their names? I hope so, growing up in Oxford, and I loved that because there's so many descriptions of the roads around Oxford that I know so well from having lived there for a year. So while reading it, I could completely imagine like every step of their way where they were, which I loved. I can't really put my finger on why it wasn't a 5-star read. It was definitely like a 4.5-star read. It was really beautiful. I loved the complexity of the relationships that it was painting between Michael and Ellis, and then also Ellis's wife Annie. The three of them had this amazing relationship, and it intertwined friendship and love and attraction in such a beautiful and nuanced way. I really just can't fault that. It was really wonderful. I think it was literally just a case of people had hyped it up so much that I didn't fall in love with it to the same extent. And I don't have a copy of it now because I lent it to Angelica because we're reading it for our book club, and I think we'll have loads to talk about, and I really do recommend it. Then I read two short story collections, The Curious Case of Dasakine's Trousers, which in parts was really funny. I loved some of the stories, but overall I didn't love most of them, and I didn't really understand a lot of them. Like, a lot of them felt like they had really funny build-ups, and then kind of this, like, anticlimax at the end, or I just didn't really get what the ending was. And then the other one was Interpreter of Maladies by Jhumpa Lahiri. Everything this woman writes turns to gold. I don't really like short stories as a whole, so I was kind of experimenting with these. But this one was a big win for me. And my mum recommended it to me, and she said that she also doesn't like short stories, but she likes these ones. She's just such a wonderful writer. Almost every story in this collection was like a 5 out of 5 story. She just writes these kind of stories where like nothing really happens, but you care so much about all the nothing that's happening. I love that kind of thing. It's so beautiful. Okay, two more. I read Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng, and I absolutely adored this one. I loved Little Fires Everywhere last year. Both of these books were a 5 out of 5. I think if anything I liked this one even better, but I don't really want to compare them. They're both so beautiful. Though interestingly, so we read this one for my in real life book club I have with my friends, and we had our book club meeting last night, and not everyone loved it, which I was so surprised at. I was going there just expecting everyone to have fallen in love with it as much as I did, and some people did, but some of them just hadn't liked it as much, which is obviously fine. Like, that's what book club's all about, is hearing different opinions. But you know, just sometimes, usually like I might read a book and be like, I love this, but not everyone will. This was one that I had just like assumed it's so good that everyone will love it. So it's just really interesting being like, oh, not everyone did. But anyway, talking about me, I loved it. I just think Celeste Ng is one of the greatest writers writing today. She's so good at getting inside the characters' heads and getting inside their motivations. The premise of this book is very, very tragic. So it opens with you learning that the oldest sister of this family has died. She's drowned in the river. And the family assume it must be murder, the police think it was probably suicide, and then it's kind of told between present day and flashbacks. So we learn about Lydia, the girl who drowned, about who she really was and what her parents didn't know about her. And it's all about the relationships between children and their parents and the weight of expectations that parents can put on their children, but then also about the weight of parenthood and trying to be different from your parents and the mistakes that they made, passing different ones on. It was just tragic all the way through. I always find books about parents and children so, so sad because they always come from like such a place of love, but sometimes parents do such harmful things to their children. And I'm not talking from life here. I have a really wonderful relationship with my parents. And maybe that's why I find it so sad reading other ones where it's like, just talk to each other, just work through this. But oh my goodness, it's really, really good. This is definitely, I can tell, going to be one of my favourite books of the year. Celeste Ng officially is my favourite writer since Jane Austen. And then finally, for the Tenterhooks book club, which is our book club that any of you can join, we read crime, mystery, thrillers, all written by women. I will put the Facebook details below. And it's an in real life book club, so if you're based in London, do join the Facebook groups, you come and join us. Angelica and I host it, and we just have really sweet little small intimate gatherings every few months or so. Next month we're going to be reading And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, but this last month we read The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. And this one, I must say, was a little disappointing to me. I really thought that it was going to be terrifying. Like, it's one of the classic ghost stories. I heard so much about it. Even Stephen King blurbed it, saying it was like the perfect haunted house tale. And I'm really, really easily scared, and I kind of enjoy it. So I was really ready to get like super creeped out. And it just never happened. Like, not even the tiniest bit creeped out, which is so rare for me. Usually, like, books that aren't even at all scary, if I'm reading them by myself in the house, I like have to pull my legs up onto the sofa and get like creeped out. And this just like wasn't at all creepy. There was like not even a second of me being creeped out. That doesn't say that I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was very funny, weirdly. Like, humour was more what I got from it, and I thought it was interesting. And I wasn't like, I didn't want to put it down. I was excited to see what was going to happen. And when we went to our book club, I really enjoyed talking about it, and it kind of pointed out more and more of the things that I did really like about it. So I'd say it's like a good haunted house story, a very interesting haunted house story. I'm probably just like unfairly judging it because I really wanted it to be scary, and it wasn't scary. It was just interesting. Okay, so that's all the books that came on and off my TBR this month, but I'm only at 39 and I need to be at 35. I've actually managed to avoid doing this for the last 2 months. I've read enough books that I haven't had to give any away. That streak is over. I now have to give away 4 books to get down to 35. God damn it. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I've been gone for a while. That was really, really hard. And spoiler alert, I'm going to ask for a concession. But we'll get to that in a minute. Let's get to the ones that I did decide to get rid of. The Couple Next Door by Shara Lupina. I picked this one up at the Tube book swap. And I do kind of really want to read it because I hear so much about Shara Lupina. But I also just keep hearing bad things. And one of my friends recently read, not this one, but a different one by her, and just said that she just thought it was like so meh. And a lot of people have said that her endings are a bit ridiculous. I'm still hating this though. It really shows that balancing the books is working, because I've now got down to just 2 shelves on my TBR shelf, and they're all books that I really want to read. And that's why it's so hard. Okay, give me a second, I'm going to come back to this one. These ones I am going to get rid of. So, The Library. I bought this about 2 years ago. I've heard amazing, amazing things. I think it probably is amazing, but it's just not my genre. And that's kind of what I've been learning from balancing the books. Is like, often I get these books that are in a genre that I know I won't really enjoy, but I hear people like them, and then they just sit there for years because actually it turns out I don't want to read them. And of course, possibly like, you might step outside your comfort zone, read a different genre, and find that you do fall in love with it. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do with getting those 2 other fantasy books. But I think this is just one that I wanted to read because I've heard other people liking it, rather than because I think it will appeal to me. So this one can go to charity, and I think someone will love it because I hear it's amazing. And then the second one is a book that I do want to read one day. So this is Pages for Her, but I haven't yet read Pages for You, and I have just like such a full reading schedule at the moment. I don't know when I'm going to read it. So I don't want to just hold on to this for years and years and years before I've even read the other one. It looks like it will be such a lovely special book, but I'm really excited to read the first book and then come to this. So for now, I don't need this one on my TBR shelf. Okay, so now we get to concession time, which I've now added this to because I'm like chickening out of it. But originally, it was about Mislaid by Nell Zink. So after picking up those first 3, I then just stared at my bookshelf for so long because I realised that I just genuinely have got it down to a selection of books that I really want to read, which is wonderful. So I don't want to give away books that I want. That's silly. But I still think my TBR shelf is too long, so I want to get it down. So the concession that I'm going to suggest is, this was the next book that I was thinking maybe I'll give away. I've heard mixed reviews, maybe it's not that great, but I really want to give it a go. So, and I'm going to now say the same thing for this one. So that's like extra cheating, because there's two. What do you guys think? And comment below and do tell me the truth, because if you think this is like mega cheating, I will not do it again. But what do you think about me keeping these ones on the provision that I must read them or try them this coming month in September? If I haven't picked them up by the end of September, they have to go, and I will include them in my TBR video for September, which I haven't actually filmed yet, even though it's now well into September. Do you think that seems fair? That they're like, these are the ones I'm getting rid of, but they're like on probation? That does mean that I'm finishing the month still with 37 books, but I'm going to keep it strict. I'm going to say that at the end of next month, it has to be 30, so that's now 7 books are going to go down, and making it hard for myself by like keeping these as a loan. Do we like loans? Are we happy with loans? Let me know what you think. I do worry it's a bit cheaty, but I think it's okay, because if by the end of next month I haven't picked them up, then I know for a fact, Emma, you're not committed to reading these books, and then I'll get rich. Literally, like last month, one of these videos just commented saying, it looks like your resolve is slipping a little bit, and like, yes, that's so true. My willpower is slipping a lot, because I've been doing this for a while and I've been doing really well. But I do love this challenge, so I'm going to do that for now, see how it goes next month. I promise at the end of next month, I will have got rid of them if I haven't read them. So give this video a thumbs up if you like this format, and comment below if you're doing anything similar. I have seen a few people doing this kind of thing on their blogs or on YouTube, and I think that's really fun. And subscribe to this channel. I post new bookish Fridays. I post new bookish videos every Friday, and I'm usually drinking something a little stronger than a smoothie. See you next time.